Well, welcome back to the Backpacking Project. Today, Mark and I head to Australia for a very special episode. This episode is our entire 2 weeks in under 20 minutes. We landed in Brisbane and headed straight north to a city called Noosa. We heard about a famous trail that runs along the coastline. Mark and I had been looking forward to Australia and made sure to soak in the nature as soon as we arrived. The next morning, it was time to get in the ocean. The water was slightly colder than Thailand, but still a lot warmer than anywhere near Canada.
Today on Outback Frying, we're preparing some kangaroo burgers.
We are heading to a place called Southwest Rock to hopefully swim with some sharks. Through Mark's research, he found locals talking about a popular dive site to see sharks. It's an underwater canyon and a cave where the sharks like to group together. Most dive groups are too big to go near the sharks, as the canyon is quite tight. But because we just showed up at 6 a.m. in the morning with no appointment, Mark and I got our very own tour thrown together last minute. With crystal clear conditions and way more sharks than normal, our instructor slowly took us underneath the sharks along the canyon floor. With easily 20 sharks circling through the canyon, you constantly had to be looking left and right to make sure you were not in a path of one of the sharks. There were a few close calls, and I was so glad we took our advanced buoyancy in Thailand. At one point in the dive, if I had descended too much, I would run into a couple sharks lying on the bottom. And if I ascended too much, I would run into much bigger sharks. After ascending out of the canyon, it was an amazing feeling to look back and see all the sharks. It's still a crazy feeling to think we swam right next to them. The next dive was through a cave, which is something Mark and I had both never done before. Armed with an underwater flashlight, we swam slowly into a very narrow and dark cave. It was so dark that the camera couldn't see anything unless I had the flashlight pointed right in front of it. Trying to navigate, control your buoyancy, all while watching the GoPro screen to make sure everything was lit up properly. I ended up running into the cave walls quite a few times. The best part of the cave dive was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. With the fish slowly circling the exit with an intense blue light pouring into the cave. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced in my life. When you are underwater for so long, you eventually become very comfortable. After we got out of the cave, I looked up and saw storm clouds. After a second, I realized that couldn't be storm clouds because we were still underwater. I laid on my back for a while and just watched the waves crashing into the island rock above me. Time seemed to stand still for a few moments. It's moments like this you realize how fortunate you are to be able to be doing something like this. This is the last dive Mark and I will be doing for quite some time. So we also took some time to cruise around and just soak it all in. When we got off the boat, we saw our very first kangaroos hopping through the field. After talking to our scuba diving instructor, he said they feed around this time in a nearby park. So after slowly walking towards them in a zigzag pattern, I was eventually able to get quite close. They remind me a lot of the deer that we have back in Canada.
So, what are we doing here?
So, barbecuing up some pork and mashed potatoes by the beach. You can see that behind me. And then just over there, Got some kangaroos. What's up, man?
He's hungry.
So yeah, we're just in between Brisbane and Sydney, just road tripping down the coast. So this is what our meals look like for the next 4 days. Want to get a close up on this? Yeah, there's a pork in here. Once our dinner was made, we had quite the view from the dinner table. After a quick run to the beach, it was time to clean up and find a place to sleep for the night. In the morning, we went to a koala rescue sanctuary, where it takes koala bears in that have been harmed from mostly dogs and nurse them back to health. They also had a mini zoo on the grounds, so we took a look around.
Wow.
Cool. Oh, look it up.
Company.
Mark and I would like to personally thank you for traveling along with us. Over the past 2 seasons, we've traveled for over 100 days, exploring Thailand, Indonesia, Costa Rica, going back to Thailand, Vietnam, and Australia. But don't worry, the spirit of the backpacking project does not end here. I'm currently planning a 3-week island hopping adventure to Hawaii this August. But until then, save your lunch money, book a flight, and go backpacking.